In a world where no one understands the U.S. government, one group of kids decided to make a video about
it. Welcome to Misfits Guide of the United States of
America!
Government. Here are the blueprints.
Legislative branch. The executive branch.
And the
judicial branch.
Hi, my name is Ellie Walpole. I'm doing a project for my American nephew, Desmond. It is on the American government, a touchy topic for me, obviously. Anyway, so the first thing he gives me is some vocabulary on the legislative branch. I'm not really sure what tree that is over there in America, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So my first word is minority leader. It is someone in the US Senate or the House of Representatives. It is the head of the minority party in the legislative body. So I'm guessing he is not the top leader, but he's the leader of the smaller party in this branch. My next word is franking privileges. They are the right of senators and representatives, I guess back to the US Senate and House of Representatives, which I can touch on a bit later, to send job-related mail without paying postage. Apparently franking privileges are good because this means spending less money on campaigns. So if the senators and the representatives are actually running an election, this means that they won't have to pay the money for stamping postage or things like that. And it will help them in the long run, obviously, economy-wise. To talk to you about the structure of the legislative branch. There are actually two houses that make up this branch, but I will be talking about the House of Representatives. Within the House of Representatives, there are 435 members. Each term is a total of 2 years. The requirements in being in the House of Representatives are you must be at least 25 years of age, you have to have been a citizen in the US for 7 years. Within the House of Representatives, there is a person that is elected by the majority party to lead the House or rule it. This person is called the Speaker of the House. The Speaker rules over debates, appoints members' committees, establishes a legislative agenda, and maintains order within the House. The Speaker of the House also administers the oath of office to the House members. As the Speaker of the House, he is second in line for the presidential succession. The first person is the Vice President. This basically means if the President is unable to fulfill his duties as President, the Vice President will take over. And the Speaker of the House is the next person in line.
Guys, we already talked about the House of Representatives and the legislative branch, but what else is included? Well, we're going to talk about the Senate now. First, let's go over some vocabulary that you're probably going to need to know. This first word is called gerrymandering. It's the dividing of a state, county, or etc. into election districts so as to give one political party a majority in many districts while concentrating the voting strength of the other party into as few districts as possible. The next word we're going to talk about the census. It's just an official way to get a gauge on the population in an area, or even the entire country, as a matter of fact. And it just gets details about the population such as age, gender, occupations, children in the house, household size, things like that. Constituents make up a big part of politics. They're sort of like the parts and pieces of politics that sort of gauge the final decision. So a part of a constituent could be a voter, or it could be the person running for the position. Now we're going to talk about whips. Not those kind of whips. Not one you use to torture someone with. A whip is an official in a political party whose primary purpose is to ensure party discipline in the legislature. and I'm pretty sure he's not going to use a whip to make sure that discipline is kept. A Senate can only serve for 6 years in each term. They don't have a certain amount of terms like the president does. They can be re-elected as many times as possible. So, what are some requirements to become a senator? First of all, you have to be at least 30 years of age. You have to have lived in the United States for at least 9 years. You have to be an inhabitant of the state you want to represent. So that means you have to have lived there. You have to be counted as a resident of that state. You also need to have a good career background outside of politics. First, someone has to make the bill. Anyone may draft the bill, but only members of Congress can introduce the legislation.
Oh, wait. Okay, today I will be talking about the executive branch of the U.S. government. There have been 44 terms of presidency in the U.S., but some people don't even know. What does it take to become a president? In order to become president, someone must be at least 35 years old, be a natural-born U.S. citizen, and have lived in the U.S. for at least 14 years. The president has many jobs, but there are 7 specifically delegated to him that are the duties of the chief. As chief of state, the president's job is to serve as a national role model and a representation for the entire country. These jobs include anything from throwing the opening pitch at a baseball game, greeting visitors at the White House, and giving a speech. As chief executive, the president is in charge of millions of government workers and the directors of his executive agencies. Each of the executive agencies has a task in maintaining the status of the U.S. As chief diplomat, the president decides how ambassadors, the country, and diplomats will interact with other countries and how he will create foreign policy. As commander-in-chief, the president is in charge of the U.S. Armed Forces. Though the president cannot declare war, he can affect major policy that can be put into place to help control the effects of the war. This is what happened during the civil war crisis in Benghazi, Libya. As chief legislator, the president influences Congress on lawmaking tasks, inputting his changes and ideas. As chief of party, it is the president's job to help fellow party members get into office. As chief guardian of the economy, it is the president's job to help with economic stability and make sure the country is running efficiently. Along with the 7 duties of chief, the president is also in charge of enforcing the laws written by Congress and appointing elected officials. Since the president can't do everything by himself, he has a cabinet. Cabinet is made up of 23 elected officials, each serving in their own department. Here are the departments: the Department of Transportation, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of State, the Department of Defense, the Vice President, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Education, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the Department of Labor, the Department of the Interior, the Department of the Treasury, the Department of Veteran Affairs, the Office of Management and Budget, the Small Business Administration, the United States Trade Representative, the Council of Economic Advisors, the White House Chief of Staff, the Ambassador to the UN, the Department of Commerce, the Department of Energy, and the Attorney General. Sometimes departments must work together in order to do things like the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security. Their job is to protect us from both foreign and domestic. Executive agencies differ from cabinet in a way. The executive agencies are only owned by the government, and they run under their own power. Here are some of the executive agencies: the Environmental Protection Agency, the United States Postal Service, the Social Security Administration, the Consumer Product Safety Committee, the CIA, the National Science Foundation, and NASA.
Well, we've done the legislative branch and the executive branch, but who's going to do the judicial branch?
I don't know.
I will do it, my children.
So you'll do it for us?
That I can do.
Okay, thanks.
Hello. My name is HAL 9000. I am an artificial intelligence. I will inform your minds on the wonders of the judicial branch. But first I must play my favorite song, Let It Go, from the Frozen soundtrack. Yes, I love these tunes. Let's begin. The judicial branch has the power to make decisions on unconstitutional laws, has power to deem a law unconstitutional, and is the branch that takes people to court. 3 courts make up the judicial branch: District Court, U.S. Court of Appeals jurisdiction, and the U.S. Supreme Court. District courts hear cases that are in their jurisdiction, and those are civil, federal, and criminal statutes cases. The U.S. Court of Appeals hears appeals related to civil and criminal cases that have previously been tried in the U.S. District Court. How does a person become a Supreme Court justice? The President has to nominate you for the position, and the Senate must confirm the nomination. You will then be put in the Supreme Court. Then you have to be nominated to go to justice. Once you're nominated, the FBI will do a background check on you. You will then be interviewed by the Senate, then they must vote on your position. What is the Rule of 4? The Rule of 4 means 4 of the 9 justices must agree to hear a case in order for it to be accepted on appeal. U.S. Supreme Court hears cases that involve the states or the U.S. as a whole. Now for some vocabulary. Original jurisdiction of a court is the power to hear a case for the first time, as opposed to appellate jurisdiction, when a court has the power to review the lower court's decision. Appellate jurisdiction is the power of a court to review decisions and change outcomes of decisions of lower courts. Remand, to send back a case to a lower court from which it was appealed, with instructions as to what further proceedings should be had. Judge, a public official appointed to decide cases in a court of law. Jury, a body of people, typically 12 in number, sworn to give a verdict in a legal case on the basis of evidence submitted to them in court. Thank you for your time. I am HAL 9000. Peace out, yo.
Just jump in and be like,
My socks are missing right today. Here, I'll slide in. Ah! I'm gonna do that again.
Oh my god, my camera.
They have it done.
I like your nose ring. It shines like a diamond in the sky.
Let's do the introduction.
Shine bright like a diamond.